All right, welcome. And Demola and I will be doing the review this morning as Chukwudi Kodubaja is unavoidably absent. Let's start with the Punch. And the Punch leads with primaries. Fubara withdraws as APC governors emerge sole aspirants. It's on page 2. We also have other stories trending. Or your abduction, Abbas demands rescue as military deploys jets. It's on page 12. A coup trial, accused colonel rejects military court. And CBN holds raids as OPS flags manufacturing risk. That's from the Punch. Let's quickly move on now to the Leadership newspaper. And Leadership newspaper is reassuring Nigerians that there's no Ebola case in Nigeria. Airports on alert. That's found on page 35. Again, Fubara pulls out as APC holds governor primaries in 28 states today. That story can be found on page 4. Rivers governor says speed stability of state greater than personal interest. That's what Fubara says for withdrawing. And saboteurs unhappy with reforms behind killings. That is coming from President Tinubu. It's on page 7. And let's take you above the nameplate now. NUT decries bandit attacks on schools, threatens strike on page 20. We can't raise 1 billion naira. Kaduna community cries out as 37 spend 45 days in captivity, unfortunately. And there are also other stories here, but let me just take this one finally. Analysts back CBN as MPC keeps interest rate at 26.5%. All right, that's the outlook. Jimala.
All right, let me start with the Daily Trust newspaper. Just below that nameplate, NDLEA records largest seizure of 480 billion worth of drugs. That's on page 17. 9 persons die in Kano, Ondo, Gombe, Lagos road crashes. Assembly primaries, longest serving speaker, Barakat, Uduaghan's daughter, others win. That details is on page 10. APC governorship primaries, Fubara withdraws as aspirants battle in 8 states. Then that's the major headline for that paper. ADC presidential ticket, Atiku Amechi Hayatuddin to know fate by May 25. Details on page 5. Airline raise fare amidst rising fuel price. Details on page 19. Nigerian airports on red alert over Ebola. That's on page 9. Votes will count. ANEC chairman. Details on page 5. Then going to Blueprints newspaper. Blueprints newspaper, we have just below that nameplate. Some people want Tinubu dead over oil subsidy removal. That's coming from the former Ogun State Governor, Oshoba. Details on page 6. FAN evolves measures against Ebola virus across entry points. On details on page 21. Chile unveils squad for Unity Cup, Poland, Portugal friendlies. And Tinubu to MDAs. You must fully digitalize, provide citizens centered services. Yale's Nation Public Service Transformation, and many more. Details of that story can be found on page 8. Our internal security architecture undergoing most ambitious transformation. That's coming from the federal government. Details on page 8. CBN retains lending rate at 26.5% to tackle inflation. Expert hailed consolidation amid global pressures. Details of that story on page 8. Police arrest couple for stealing 3 babies in Ogun State. That's on page 14. And primaries, NDC clears Obi, Atiku Amechi awaits ADC verdict. APC primary most competitive in Nigeria's history. Yawada, details on page 13. Claire.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's look at the papers today. I think the most trending issue, it's about the primaries, you know.
Yeah, it's all over the papers.
Yes.
That's
And,
the APC governorship primaries.
yeah.
Yes, that is billed to hold today. Sorry, yes, today.
Today, Thursday,
Today,
yes.
Thursday. But of course, the most, one of the stories that will be talked about today definitely will be the pullout of Rivers State Governor Similaye Fubara, and also Prince Tony Cole.
Yeah.
Two very strong contenders. We hear they have made statements of their withdrawal.
Yes, the governor has stated that after due consultation with his loyalist and family, he just decided, in good faith, he said, my decision to withdraw from the Rivers State governorship primaries, he stated, is that just for peace to reign, After deep reflection and extensive consultation with my family, friends and associates, I have taken the difficult but necessary decision to withdraw from the APC governorship primaries. I do so with a full heart and with a firm commitment to support whoever emerges as the candidate of our great party. So that's what he said.
There are a number of issues to raise from that. As we all know in Nigerian politics, the first major one, some people will applaud him, but majority of his supporters will, of course, be disappointed. Already, there have been mixed, reactions on the social media. But in politics, yes, campaign, it's not all about campaign, but also what you do when you step back. But again, if you know what political issues in Rivers State is, his withdrawal will definitely calm the political tension
in the
state, hopefully, as it is, but then is he withdrawing to recalibrate? What lays ahead? We don't know.
Well, I think he has given his word that he's going to support whoever emerges as the candidate of the party. And I think the gentleman is withdrawing so that peace will reign in the state, I guess, because there's so much tension in Rivers State.
We've heard, talks like this, political analysts will tell you their political rhetorics. People say, especially coming from Rivers State, we've heard, yes, for peace, and then you go back again, But
no,
anyway,
I don't think.
I
don't think he will go back.
Yes, for now, in the interest of peace and stability for Rivers, not just for the state, for the people of Rivers State, let's hope that peace returns and everybody, comes to the same table and move that state forward.
I think he should be commended. He should be commended for that. Yes, for peace to reign. And let's look at the other things here on the papers.
But he should have done this long ago. I mean, he should have read beyond now, and then saved the whole the people of Rivers State, all the battles and going here and there and all that. But
this wasn't on the table then. This wasn't on the table then.
What was on the table?
I mean, that's another issue entirely. So don't let's go in there. Don't let's discuss that.
Well, but
so let's look at something else now. We're looking at the. Okay, I mean, we just talked about only the Rivers State primaries, but other primaries too are also taking place in Lagos and all that. So we hope that it will be fair and it will be democratic.
The tension in Rivers, one would say. You don't find the dynamics triggering those tensions in other states. Of course, there are issues So that's why a lot of, attention will be drawn to Rivers State, especially during these primaries. But let's move away from politics, because I don't like to talk about politics. It's full of dynamics and all that. Okay. But let's look at the story that Nigerians should be glad about. Two stories, in fact. No Ebola case in Nigeria. That is a clean state from FAN. It says airports on alert, but that does not mean that we should, let our guards down. You should be, on the alert. You should maintain,
especially at the international entries.
Exactly.
Not only at the airports, but what the what's it called now? The land borders as well.
Precisely. And then, of course, people should try and maintain good hygiene. That's very important. There's a story on the NDLEA report, the largest seizure.
Yes.
I think
480 billion naira worth of drugs. You can imagine. Let me just
yes, in one of the southern states, I think in Ogun State.
Well, let me just look at it. It has been dismantled by the production of a syndicate. Arrested 10 suspects and seized illicit drugs and chemical valued at $480 billion. Wow. It was during a briefing,
please confirm
actually.
The state for me.
It was during a briefing by the chairman of the NDLEA, that's Mohammed Buba Marwa, at his headquarters in Abuja. But the state is Ogun State.
Ogun State.
Yes.
So I was right then.
Yes,
Ogun
yes.
State. I think this is...
Yes, Ogun State.
Yes, Brigadier General Buba Marwa is the man for and of the moment.
Action man.
He should be commended. The NDLEA has been doing so much. There is no day on the news log, on social media, that you do not find, seizures and arrests being made. The barons must be, you're not talking.
I'm not talking because you're talking, so the two of us can't talk at the same time.
Because,
so
you should respond, because I'm saying that the barons should be, chased, fished out, and also made to face the law. You can imagine this syndicate operating right, in the forest in Ogun State. And I don't know people. I don't know, people within that community.
And they are Mexicans.
And were they not aware?
They are Mexicans, though. Some of them are Mexicans.
Of course, the Nigerian accomplices.
Foreign nationals, Mexican arrested by NDLEA during the operation. Anyway, so you can imagine that.
I think
just like you said, Marwa has been the very active person right from the time he was the governor of Lagos State. I mean, I was correspondent then, so we were just working like every day. Hi.
Let's not, before we round up, let's not forget to talk about the role of the community in helping to also, check illicit, drugs within our community, within our country. Because this happened right in the forest in Ogun State. Now, within that forest, are there no communities, surrounding communities? Were the people within those communities not aware? And that is why we keep saying,
well, you see something, say something.
Yes, say something. Not just if you see, if you perceive something, please say something. Anyway, once again, kudos to, the NDLEA, the leadership of the NDLEA, and all the men, and all those, of course, who provided the intelligence report for this syndicate.
Actually, something that is worrying is these airlines raise fare amidst rising fuel price. I mean, there's going to be a tough one for passengers,
we are discussing the outcome of the CBN's MPC. Now, this is part of what they said is the maybe core inflation that is, triggering the inflation rate, the headline inflation rate. So I'm sure that when the analysts come, they will explain this for us, how, the place of rising fuel prices and online, cost in all of this.
All right, thank you, Claire, for the job
So I
that
have
you're...
taken over to put this role.
Yeah, you're doing it very well.
You have to pay me.
We have to commend you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your analysis this morning. We'll take